Finally, let's talk about the departure of Justin Trudeau, Canada's first black prime minister, famed male feminist.
Yep.
Emily, you a fan of Trudeau?
I did quite enjoy the joy it brought to many people to see his downfall. Before we came on air, we started recording, we were remembering some of his wokest moments. She session, yes.
The she session. Yeah. This was during COVID when it became apparent, or he was saying that, the recession at that point was affecting women more, so we had to call it a she session rather than a recession.
Of course, it would be affecting trans women even more.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
I've got to remember that. Of course. Got to remember that section of society. And then it was also him correcting someone mid-flow when they'd said mankind.
Yep, mankind. And he said, we say people kind.
Yeah, which I'd never even heard of. I don't think anyone says people kind. I just don't know. I mean, Canada has gone crazy, but then you read that it could be Mark Carney from the Bank of England who could step into the position, which is mad. And a video's just resurfaced of Mark Carney saying how fantastic it was going to be that Rachel Reeves was going to be the Chancellor, first female Chancellor, of course. And look what's happened today. Well, the markets are in absolute turmoil in reaction, probably quite a bit to the budget. So there you go.
Yeah.
Incredible. I mean, I'm going to miss Trudeau, though, for the laughs as much as anything else. I hope he doesn't slink away from international public life entirely. Just because he's like a kind of uncharitable caricature of a woke liberal politician. You know, he takes it to such an absurd degree, and also in a really cartoonish fashion embodies what that part of politics is really about. The kind of contradictions of it. On the one hand, you can be incredibly woke and spend most of your youth in blackface, as you've already alluded to, but also you could be a supposed liberal, lead the Liberal Party of Canada, and yet be a rank authoritarian. You know, the fact that not only in terms of the clampdowns on speech, not only in the ushering in of this authoritarian, misogynistic gender ideology, something that he's very proud of doing, the reaction to the truckers' convoy, in which he invoked the Emergencies Act for the first time in Canadian history, to be able to kind of clear the protest which was there against his vaccine mandates. To clear the streets, to freeze their bank accounts.
Yeah,
it was
declared their bank accounts, didn't he?
It was declared unconstitutional as well by their federal court. If Donald Trump had done that, there'd have been a military coup or something. But
or if he was pictured in blackface.
Well, that's another orange face will do. Time. But certainly in a hilarious form, just an embodiment of how the kind of technocratic centre left have become not only risible, obviously, but also really authoritarian, really reactionary, and yet really smug and convinced of their own virtue at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, the sort of image you now have of Canada, Trudeau's Canada, is of broadly a kind of dystopian place. I mean, it's not just the extreme wokeism, but it's the euthanasia issue.
Yes,
it's completely out of control there. I mean, what's your impression, Emily?
Well, I think a lot of people I speak to who are small c conservatives and who are either from Canada or who live there, they say, as you say, it's a progressive nightmare in terms of free speech, in terms of, as you say, euthanasia, in terms of language policing, even within friendship groups. It sort of takes hold, that sort of, it's like what it's like here, but so much worse, it seems. It seems as if Canada is the sort of guinea pig for the extremes of this woke progressive ideology, whether it's on gender, whether it's on speech, whether it's whatever. But I think euthanasia and the way Canada has taken that to quite an extreme is a warning for us over here. I don't have a very strong stance on assisted dying, but I think if we can, we should probably not make any drastic changes when it comes to that front.
We shouldn't,
mental
shouldn't follow
health
the Canadians.
And things like that. Oh, bit tricky.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. But it is heartening that he's been so repudiated as well. I mean, it looks like any of his successors, whether it's Mark Carney or whether it's his former deputy who stepped down recently, they're all facing like a double-digit shellacking in the next election, it looks like, regardless of who takes over, because the public have really had enough of this. You know, it's this kind of the clearest example, I think, of taking a nation and trying to impose this new ideology on them, whether it's greenism, gender, whatever. It's being repudiated across the piece. You know, and if you think about the kind of numbers of politicians in that kind of mould, a Nicola Sturgeon, a Jacinda Ardern, Leo Varadkar even, Joe Biden, of course. They've just been falling like skittles one after another in recent years. And I think that tells you something.
Is it the end of it? Will it resurface? Because I think Keir Starmer is a different type of politician. I don't think he's a woke progressive. I think some of the things he says are like that, but I don't think he'd ever start talking about a she session.
No, and he wouldn't wear pride socks.
No, he's very serious.
Or whatever it might be.
I mean, he took the knee, but I think that was just because Angela Rayner said, "Do you want to take the knee?"
Yeah. Exactly.
I don't think it's because he's so excited by the idea.
He's a slightly different beast, but he does fit. At the same time, Starmer does feel like that sort of last gasp.
He does, yes.
Of that pre-2016 politician.
Let's hope he is.
Yes.
4 more years.